Hey everybody, blessings, and thank you for clicking on this video. Happy today. Hope you are well. I'm recording this video on August 9th, 2024, and this time I said August. I only noticed yesterday that after the fact that I said April in my previous Teach Talk. I said April instead of August, and I did not even notice when I was editing or watching the video again. So, but we are all human and we are imperfect and we make mistakes. And my whole goal in doing these videos and putting myself out on the internet, putting myself out there, is to learn how to be authentic, learn not to stress too much about imperfections and flaws and things that don't go right and what I cannot do, and try to lean in to what I can do and try to keep on moving forward and keep on developing my voice and my language and my confidence and just being myself. Today's Teach Talk, I am thinking that the title or the theme of this Teach Talk is going to be the tale of two energies. That's what I'm thinking. I have ideas of what I want to talk about in this video, and I hope that you would stick around to the end. I hope you would enjoy it. I have no idea exactly how the conversation is going to go because, guys, sometimes I try to prepare. I try to make notes and try to prepare, but I find that just makes me more nervous. It makes me, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. I prefer to just be as authentic as possible and try to work through my thoughts as I'm speaking to you. So that is why I call these Teach Thoughts, because they are genuinely me being me and doing it my way and growing my way. It is me showcasing my feelings and thoughts and ideas and observations and all those things, working through them and processing them and getting them out there right before your eyes. So it's basically us kind of like figuring out the thoughts together. You are kind of watching me figure myself out, find my voice in real time. And it's a good way for me to learn to be a little bit more natural and impromptu. So first thing I wanted to share is about this clip that I saw on my Instagram feed yesterday from an account called Female Quotient. And I follow Female Quotient from my at Letitia Learns Life account. And this, I was so blown away by this clip. So it was a clip of this is what I have written here. In an iconic Olympic moment, and I might mess up these names, Tamaris Arahu Frassard of Brazil, just an athlete from Brazil, carried rival Argentina Kasuma of Angola off the court after an injury kept her from standing. It was an epitome of sportsmanship and a beautifully touching moment of strong sisterhood. So the reason I want to share about that, and if you haven't seen that clip, especially women, go look at it. It just will give you good feels. It reminds me. Let me tell you what the thought that came to my mind when I saw this clip. I said, we focus on the wrong. I practically wanted to cry. I said, we focus on the wrong things. And I'm talking about us human beings. We focus on the wrong things. This girl, this athlete, my gosh, she carried that girl all by herself, like she was so strong. And the athlete that she carried, she held her with with trust. She held her by the neck, and she allowed herself to be carried by a rival, an opponent from the other team. And I just thought it was such a beautiful moment, and I wanted to cry. And like I said we focus on the wrong things. And what that means to me, what I mean when I say it as like, this girl, she's strong, she's beautiful and talented and an athlete, but she has flaws, and her rival has flaws, and everybody on that in that arena has flaws and imperfections and things that we could pick at and things that we could look at and we could pull apart. And it just, everything always connects to this whole my political observations is that, the especially the other side, the side that I'm rooting for is the pro-democracy side, the joyful warrior side, the loving side, the side with policies that look out for the everyday person, the we the people side, the fun side, the Harris, Walls, Biden, Buttigieg, Newsom, Gretchen, all those awesome people side. And in politics, the old-fashioned politics especially, the old way was to look at people and find their imperfections and find all the things that they did in the past and all the things that went wrong, and analyze it like with like under a microscope and find something wrong with it. So we got the other side. We got the Trump, Vance, MAGA, Fox News, right-wing side, and they're still doing old politics, and they're talking about stolen valor, where Tim Walz is concerned, and they're talking about how Kamala Harris turned black, and they're talking about some kind of DUI that Tim Walz DUI ticket or something or whatever charge that Tim Walz had when he was in his 30s, and they're talking about people that Kamala Harris locked, all like digging into the past, and and relitigating all the things that happened in the past. That is old politics, and they're sticking with old politics, to trying things that have worked for many, many years. They're starting to realize, or maybe they're not, but they're kind of seeing that old politics isn't working anymore, because we're not allowing old politics to work anymore. There's some people that are still allowing old politics to work, but for the most part, I think more of us aren't than the ones that are. I'm one that like to embrace the word woke, because when I think of woke, I think of alert and vigilant and sharp and aware and paying attention and engaged and not sleepwalking. So woke is like a one word that says it all. Being awake, being vigilant. And another thing that I wanted to talk about in this video today was about mainstream media. I wanted to talk about Lawrence O'Donnell, who is my hero of the day, my chosen, I'll find a different way of wording it, if for lack of a better way to word it, my hero of the day, the man of the hour, however you want to say it, but somebody that I have a lot of respect for and appreciation for. And I totally appreciated his his show yesterday, Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell, and he called out the media. He called out corporate media. Obviously, he didn't call them corporate media, I don't think, but he called out the media, and he called out these journalists, and he called out how these journalists act towards Biden and Kamala Harris and the current press secretary, and how they treat people on our side, right? As opposed to how they treat Trump, with these kitty gloves and these I'm almost I'm finding it hard to believe that, finding it hard not to believe that they don't want Donald Trump to win. I'm convinced that they do. I don't know what the reason is. Corporate mindset, something to do with money, something to do with elitism. I don't know what it is. Something to do with keeping a job. I don't know what is going on in these people's head. But I've always had an issue with corporate media, and I learned about how corporate media operates and how dangerous they could be from paying a close attention to the Pete Buttigieg campaign and realizing how biased and how narrative driven and how they ask questions, and I had always thought that corporate media reminded me of, it had an immature energy. They remind me of children, but immature children. There might even be smarter children that can ask more intelligent questions than people in corporate media. And so from my observations for the last 4 years of watching corporate media, I don't really watch corporate media, but from since watching the Pete Buttigieg campaign and how they handled that whole how they operated with Pete and everything, I realized that corporate media did not want Pete. And they made it very clear in the way how they would operate with him, and from that time on, I really wasn't interested in corporate media anymore. So the only time that I get to really know about what has been on corporate media networks and stuff, if watch something from that, is if a particular journalist that I appreciate shares it, or somebody else shares it that I follow, share that, like maybe Midas Touch might share a clip and tell us about something, or they share it on their social media account. That's when I would be aware of a corporate media conversation or a corporate media segment or anything like that. The one corporate media Instagram that I still follow is Morning Joe, although I don't always pay attention to that, but sometimes. And the journalists that I still appreciate is Joy Reid and Lawrence O'Donnell and Nicole Wallace. And also every once in a while Rachel Maddow, sometimes. And there's this young woman on CNN that she shares her segments that she's on, and she's so badass. And I love to watch her segments because she speaks the truth. She puts people in their place, and she showed a clip on her account recently where she was on some panel table, and they were discussing, what were they discussing? I don't know. It sounded like a comparison. Some the people comparing January 6th. I think they were discussing that Joe Biden said he was not confident about a peaceful transfer of power. So the context of the conversation sounded like that's what they were talking about. And January 6th came in the conversation, and the person that was sitting next to this young woman, was downplaying January 6th, and the awful people, the awful right wing representatives that CNN has on their shows is so gross and disgusting to me. But anyway, let me find out her name. Yeah, so her name is Ashley R. Allison, and the Instagram account is Ashley underscore, I think that is underscore R underscore Allison. I think that's underscore. And she is so good at what she does. And thank God that she's on CNN. And the only time that I watch anything to do with CNN is when she shares her segments on her Instagram account, because I am very grossed out by CNN. I do not like CNN at all. And I don't like many journalists or commentators or anybody on CNN. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with the people that are on CNN. So yuck. CNN is not my favorite. So I'm hearing that mainstream media journalists are, this is why I appreciated Lawrence O'Donnell's segment calling out mainstream media, because he's, oh my God, y'all need to watch that segment. It's on YouTube. And he used the word stupid, and he used the way that these people would prefer to have a press conference with Trump. Every word coming out of Trump's mouth is a lie or disrespectful. They'll prefer that and consider that having somebody answer their questions, as opposed to the fact that Kamala Harris hasn't sit down in an interview with mainstream media. And they think that they're that important. They think that highly of themselves. So I'm gonna make a part 2. Look out for that. All right, so continuing this video, I would like to ask that this is part 2 for Instagram. Instagram is where my audience is, so I have to cater my videos to Instagram. I would love to move over to YouTube and to find my people and my following on YouTube. I cannot get my YouTube channel to grow right now. I need to give it some attention, and I haven't had the time to give it attention. But so far, my YouTube has 3 subscribers, and one of those subscribers is me. I subscribe to myself from a different email. So I would love to ask that if you like my content, if you like what I have to offer, if you like the sound of my voice, and you would like to see me grow and continue in this in what I'm trying to do here, in this whatever it is that I'm doing here. If you'd like to see me grow and like to see, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Yes, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is Tish Era INFJ, and I would love to see that channel grow, and I would love to move over my videos to YouTube. People that might actually have the patience with longer videos. I know Instagram and TikTok are more for people that like shorter stuff, but I am, like I said, my whole brand or my whole style at this moment is showcasing my growth and my understanding of the world, my understanding of the political space, and kind of like looking at the world as it was, looking at the world as it is now, looking at the world as I would like it to be, and working towards the future that I want and I hope for myself and for the world that I live in, as well as learning from my past, as well as living in my present. Right? That's my goals. Living in my present, learning from my past, not dwelling on too much on past stuff, but just grabbing up some lessons from past things, from in my own experience, and from watching other people, from learning about the past in general, and then taking that information and figuring out how to make a better future for myself and the world that I live in and the people around me. It's a work in process. It's a work in progress. So once again, I'd like to ask that you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Tishara INFJ. And these videos that I'm working on now, this is going to be weekend posts. I probably will put, this whole video as one on YouTube, but I am going to divide it in two halves for Instagram. So maybe one will be posted on Saturday and the other will be posted on Sunday. And I hope that people get to see it, because I know weekends are times where people are doing other things. So, even though I prefer my weekend posts than weekday posts, I know that those are the posts that does not get a lot of attention. But I'm a work in progress. So, I said most of the things that I thought of that I wanted to say in the first half of the video. But what else I wanted to say is that I wanted to talk about me and how I perceive that I would like to grow, how I would like to grow for the future me. How do I, so the future me without, obviously the basic stuff. I want to be healthier and blah, 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 all that stuff. Everybody wants that, right? But based on the lessons that I've learned from the past, from everything that has gone down in the last 8 years, and just observing people being people, observing the worst and the best in people, and observing the kind of people that will be drawn to the MAGA energy and the Trump energy, and then the kind of people that are drawn to the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, Big Gretch, Gavin Newsom, the Democratic energy, right? And then the kind of people that they just like to be, they're not for either one, right? There's a kind of people where they're apathetic and they just prefer not to be interested in politics at all or pay attention to anything at all. And I don't really understand those people, and I also don't understand the Free Palestine, one issue Palestine folks, right? I don't understand their minds either. I don't get them. That's the truth. Because speaking from my perspective, I care. I care about all of it. I care about, I want people to live. I want people to be at peace. I want people to have freedom. I want people to be their best selves. You know, I want the best for people. You know, for myself, for my family, for the people around me, for just for people on this planet. I wish that there were certain things that just never existed in the world. You know, I wish that there wasn't wars. And I remember telling my mom when I was in an emotional conversation with her that I wish the Bible never existed. And the reason I say I wish the Bible never existed is because I find that people cling so hard to this very, very ancient book, you know, and all the stories and all the words that are in it and the rules and the, you know, and this ancient book has beautiful wise things in it, just like a lot of other beautiful wise books that are written, that have been written since, you know. And there's a lot of lessons from it and a lot of stories and all that stuff and a lot of things we can draw from. I still draw from the wisdom of the Bible, but I hate the fact that it's the Bible right now. It is the Bible believers right now. It is people that see themselves as Christian and see themselves as the one true religion and God as the one true God. And their understanding of God is the only understanding of God. Is these people that I feel are putting us through this moment, you know. They've allowed this moment to happen. They've allowed Trump to happen. They've helped Trump to happen. And as far as I'm concerned, everything that I know about the Antichrist, Trump embodies that, you know. And my feeling about the Antichrist is like the opposite of Christ, the opposite of Jesus, right? And my feeling of the Antichrist, you know, and I will study and learn more about this, but my feeling of the Antichrist right now, just a thought, haven't really, you know, thought about it too deeply to really like get into it because a lot of stuff is happening right now. But I feel like the Antichrist is not a person, but a energy, a spirit. And the Antichrist, just like I feel like God is all of us are God. God is in us, right? And we as a collective make up the image of God. We are God, and we shape the world how we want it to be. We're everywhere, you know. We're all the things that God is said to be, you know. We could either be a part of God or a part of the opposite of God, the devil. And I know people have all, you know, their kind of beliefs and their studies and their, you know, whatever, their whole idea of it. But my idea is taking shape in a very different kind of way. And the idea of how I see God and Satan, it makes it make more sense to me. It makes all of it make more sense to me. And as I continue, as I continue to the future, I hope, this is why I don't want to live in a fascist future where people are burning books and not allowing people to teach and speak freely. Because I want to live in a world where I can continue to study and continue to work on my brain and become more informed and smarter and more awake, and my understanding grow deeper and my ideas take shape and form and become something real. You know, something that makes the world make sense to me, makes the purpose of life make sense to me, the purpose of being alive makes sense to me. And then eventually get to the point where I no longer call myself a student of life and a student of now, but then I will start to see myself as somebody who teaches, you know, who is in a good place to teach, right? So to close out this video and say a few more things, I made a few notes of the things that I wanted to talk about. So I talked about, in my previous video, I talked about the Lawrence O'Donnell segment where he called out corporate media for their stupidity and their weakness, you know. and he called out Trump, calling him the stupidest president that we've ever had. And Joe Biden says that Donald Trump is the worst president that we've ever had. And anybody who thinks that Donald Trump is the worst president that we have ever had, I would like you to know that I am in agreement with you. Donald Trump is the worst president that America has ever had, and the stupidest. I'm also in agreement with that. It baffles my mind that people would give him the time of day because he is a dumb MF. He rambles, he says nothing of substance, and he's just this angry, pathetic, rambly man that makes promises and tells lies and says nothing. And I don't know why people bend to his will, or treat him in the way that he would, the kind of, I don't know why certain people treat him the way they treat him, with this kind of level of respect that he does not deserve. I don't know. But I am looking forward to the day and the moment where Trump will finally know that his time is over, and it's over and it's done. He's lost. I know that we are going through a lot of things, and it's taken a long time, and it seems like there's so many delays. But once again, I will repeat that I am a person that believes in divine timing, and I believe that we have lessons to learn, people to wait for, things that we have to pick up on the way, things that have to happen, people that has to come out of the sleepers that have to wake up, things, the unexpected that has to pop up. Like nobody expected Tim Walz. Some people knew of Tim Walz. I did not. If I knew of Tim Walz, then I could have envisioned somebody else other than Pete Buttigieg, who's my guy. Pete Buttigieg is always my number 2 guy. Joe Biden is my number 1. But Tim Walz, he gives me Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg energy, and I like that guy. I appreciate that guy. I am all in for Tim Walz as VP. I think that he and Kamala Harris has more chemistry than I envisioned that Pete and Kamala would have had. I think that he's the one. I think that they complement each other really well, and he is humble. He reminds me of Joe Biden. His policy ideas are very similar. His vision for the future, what the promises that he would like to keep for America, reminds me of Joe Biden, and I can't wait to see what they do. I'm looking forward to watching this campaign, and I know that mainstream media is going to be gross and disgusting, and I see things. Mainstream media is going to be coming for us. They're already coming for Kamala, but I hope that Kamala does not pay mainstream media the attention that they crave, and they think that they deserve. Mainstream media as an entity and an energy has an ego. It sees itself as something bigger than it is. It sees itself as a kingmaker, I guess, and it sees itself as something that people have to bow down to. And I think that I would like to see the people put mainstream media in its place. And the last thing that I would like to say, just a little news, which will be not new news by the time this video is posted, but one of the cool things is about. So one of the coolest news of today, I would say coconut tree good news, coconut tree news. The oldest Latino civil rights group announced its first presidential endorsement for Harris Walz. And that is a headline from NBC News. It is LULAC, which stands for League of United Latin American Citizens. That is a 95-year-old group, and it is endorsing Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz. And they have never, from what I understand, this is the first endorsement from this group, because they never went into politics in that way. But the Political Action Committee, that's a part of that group, is endorsing the Harris Walz campaign, and that is the first ever endorsement from this group. So that is historical and beautiful and needed. And thank you for watching. And that's the end of my videos. I hope you enjoyed. Blessings.